Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you. I am Meha Bharadwaj Alter, and if you are still reeling from the shock of India imploding in the World Test Championship final, then you and I and our guests on the show can talk about what exactly went wrong. What were the reasons behind India's failure? That's what we are going to discuss today. India were unable to win yet another ICC event. So what keeps going wrong with India in ICC tournaments? This is the second straight World Test Championship final that India have lost. And since 2013, they've played in 8 semi-finals and finals of ICC tournaments and have lost all 8. So 8 knockout games, India have lost all 8. Is there a problem? Well, yes. India, with a country of 1.4 billion, loves this game. BCCI is the richest, most powerful cricket board in the world. Indian cricketers are worshipped in this country. They have big contracts. They've got big sponsorship deals. They play the richest, most followed cricket league in the world, the IPL. Most foreign players would love to be in their shoes. But come an ICC World Cup or WTC Championship final, they are unable to stand up to the standards that the fans expect of them. 2013 was the last time India won an ICC trophy, and going by how abject their performance was at the Oval, one wonders, when will India win another ICC title? So that's the question for all of you, and that's the question that we will put to our two experts, Jamie Alter and Kushan Sarkar. They join us on the show. They have both covered many World Cups. They've seen Australia dominate world cricket. They've seen India win the inaugural T20 World Cup trophy in 2007 and then the 2011 World Cup at home, and are wondering right now what kind of Havan Puja needs to be done to stop this ICC jinx. Jamie, religious intervention works, but that's only when one helps himself. In this case, Indian team have themselves to blame, really. So many things that could have gone right for this team. It's because of them and the team management that they didn't.
Yes, good evening, Maya. Lots of things have gone wrong. Very little has gone right. We've heard Rohit Sharma yesterday in, frankly, a very disappointing post-match press conference, both with the media, but more strikingly, immediately after the loss when he was on the ground going through this customary post-match discussion. And also Rahul Dravid, who I think gave a very shockingly poor press conference as well. It was not the fact that these two players and player and coach, captain coach, gave the same rote, almost rehearsed answer. It was the fact that for me that they didn't acknowledge all the fans who'd flown in from various countries from across England, who'd paid upwards of £100 for to watch that match, and who, let's face it, probably if the capacity is 24,000 at the Oval, the Indian fans there made up the majority of those fans. And every time a wicket fell, it was these fans who were chasing. They found their voice in, let's face it, what was a rather disappointing 5 days. So against that backdrop, then you can evaluate the fact that some players were overcooked and undercooked and all that jazz. We've talked about the IPL factor. We've talked about Chiteshwar Pujara. It just seems to be something. Maybe it's not technical. Maybe it's mental. Who knows? You can debate whether the shot that Virat Kohli played on 49 was that a technical flaw, was that a mental flaw. Who knows where the answer lies? The bottom line is that across these 10 years that you referenced and those 8 different ICC knockout matches, something has gone wrong. Sometimes, as in the case of this most recent WTC final, it was a collective failure. Sometimes it's just been one batsman's bad shot. It's been a pattern, as in 2019, Trent Bolt setting up Virat Kohli. That was a dismissal that I frankly saw 3-4 games happening before that. It's just these small things which don't make sense. 2014 T20 World Cup, Yuvraj Singh having an utter brain fade against Malinga and Kulasekara. Small things like this on the biggest stage often end up with Indian teams not getting across the final hurdle and not having ICC trophies. Is it individual? Is it collective? I don't know, but it's too long. As you said, BCCI is the richest board. We have the IPL. We pride ourselves on the IPL. Forget that 70% of the IPL bowlers are domestic, uncapped bowlers. That gets overlooked. I just think the Indian cricket system is very, very near to being broken.
The other thing being, Jamie, I was listening to Rahul Dravid yesterday. I was listening to Rohit Sharma, and the problem that stands out for me is the refusal to accept that there's a problem. And I feel like that has been going on for a while. At what point do you say it was a huge problem, we really played badly, something needs to be done, tough calls need to be taken? And that's where the problem is, where you're not accepting that your batting has been bad, and it's not been just this World Test Championship final. You lost the last World Test Championship final with the same batters, almost the same batters. You had the same senior players who weren't able to do much in that. We lost that, and now we've lost this World Test Championship final. No one's really been talking, at least in the team management, about how badly they played. Some of those shots that your senior players got out too, that's a question that needs to be asked. And I feel like people are not talking enough about how bad they were.
No, they're horrible, and a lot of fans, at least on the various platforms that I go on, and the comments that I get, fans are irate, fans are disappointed, fans are saying कि अब हम इस team को नहीं follow करेंगे. It might just be 14, 15 such people, but there are probably a lot more out there who are actually fed up. And Meha, if they're not fed up, if they're still supportive, if they're still swayed by IPL numbers and Instagram numbers and social media numbers and brand value, then I'm sorry, I don't think, I think then the Indian team deserves the kind of fans it gets, and vice versa. People should be irate. People should be disappointed. There were placards held up at the Oval yesterday from the same fans who were cheering across 5 rather dismal days. Achanak, they got angry, and they should be angry, because this is a team not lacking for talent. It's a team with abundant talent. Like I said when we were talking yesterday on a different platform, India have gone to England 3 times in the last 3 years. They played at the Oval. These were not alien conditions. These were not tough conditions. I feel if Australia were ahead because of their past experience, how far back behind were India? India have won at the Oval. The Oval is the most friendly ground for visiting Asian countries. How many Asian teams have won at the Oval? The most, as compared to other English grounds. They had no excuse. And now Rohit Sharma can say whatever he wants to. We would have wanted 20, 25 days. Well, then raise your voice. You are the most important cricketer captain in this game. Speak to your board. Speak to your franchise. The franchise which, frankly, I think propped you up to become this 5-time IPL winning captain. Will they do it? Of course they won't. Why should they, Maya? Why would Rohit Sharma acknowledge that something is wrong when he's a 3-format captain with brand endorsements, with a lot riding on him? If he even were to say, oh, we messed up, his brand value falls.
Yeah.
Ideally, Rohit Sharma should step away. Is he going to without a selection committee? Of course not. Why would Rahane, Kohli, Pujara, why would these players want to step away? The moment you leave, your brand value drops significantly. If you're Rahane, if you're Pujara, you may be in the most terrible form. Are you going to leave the way Rahul Dravid and VVS Lakshman walked away? No, you're not, because you need that brand endorsement. The game has changed so much, and it's gone so far that financial success is often valued far more than doing well. My question is, does this team want to win test matches? Do they want to win WTC finals? Does Rahul Dravid have the wherewithal to get these players in top form? Frankly, after the last 5 days, I don't think so.
That's right. Okay, this is what Rohit Sharma had to say when he was asked this question on the timing and venue, which is what Jamie was referring to. And he says, why after the IPL final? Why cannot it be in March? He goes on to say, June is not the only month we should play the final. It can be played any time of the year and anywhere in the world, not just in England. It can be played anywhere in the world. Are you suggesting then that that's the other problem? That, in England, maybe we don't have the advantage because the conditions do not suit us. So it could be played in any other part of the world. And how much of this is about making excuses to say that why can it not be in March? Do you see Australia saying that? Do you see Pat Cummins saying that? I mean, I heard this is what Pat Cummins had to say when he was asked about, the WTC being played in like a 3-match series. And he says, I think it's fine. No qualms. I think ideally you'd have 50-match series. But the Olympics have come down to one race to win a gold medal. AFL, NRL seasons all have finals. That's sport. So you just tell yourself that this is one Test Championship final, and you actually weren't even talking about it before the World Test Championship final. It's only after you've lost you're saying, oh, maybe we should have three matches, which is the next thing which he goes on to say. So this is one thing he's talking about, the venue. He's questioning the timing and the venue, which I feel like is a bit of, making an excuse for losing. The other quote that he goes on to say, which is going to come up on your screens right now, and I want everybody, whoever's watching, to comment, to tell us what they think of this. The next quote is, I would love a 3-match final, but is there time? That's the big question. Honestly, in a big event like this, you need to have fair opportunities for both the teams. A 3-match series would be nice, but it's about finding that window where it can fit in. An event like this, you work hard for 2 years and then you only have one shot at it. It's not really, you cannot get into that momentum that you need in Test cricket. Test cricket is all about finding that rhythm, finding that momentum as well. I think, yeah, if in the next cycle, if it is possible, 3-match series would be ideal. Again, why is it that you were the only team that was unable to find the rhythm, whereas Australia were in absolute sync in what they wanted to do, Jamie? Just compare the two sides, and I think that's where the problem is. Australia come into this World Test Championship final completely rested, refreshed. They are looking forward to the Ashes series. They know where their priorities are, and I'm not going to complain about the IPL because I know how the financial dynamics work, but something has to be done. You cannot be a silent observer of all of this and resign to the fact, as the Indian board, as Indian players collectively, कि भाई ऐसा ही है. Now you can't do anything about it. This is just the way things are.
Yep, and the two quotes from the two captains, one losing, one winning, they sort of sum up the moods, right? On the one hand, we have someone who's just won. He realized that his team for about maybe a fourth or a third of this match were pretty poor, especially with the ball, and slightly negative. But it's a comment, it's a post-match reaction from the winning captain whose team is now official WTC champions. And the other hand, you have sour grapes. Now, my thing is this, and I may, by the way, you also you should have mentioned that one line that Pat Cummins said in that post-match interview when he said, "This is the format that we love the most." That for me also stood out. How many times have you seen any Indian player? I heard it from Virat Kohli a couple times when he was captain. No Indian player has come out and said, "This is the format I love. This is the format that I want to do it." You just do not hear these comments coming out. Maybe I'm making a big issue of it, or maybe it actually is indicative of what lies beneath the surface. But coming back to this whole issue of, look, you can talk about it being in March, you can talk about it being best of 3, have it best of 5. The point is, Meha, to my mind, the WTC final cannot be in either of the two finalists' home nation. You do not want home advantage because in the case of India, it is that precise home advantage which has propped you up and made you look better than you are. Why in the world would you want that final being held in India? England was not in the final 2 years ago. England are not in the final right now, but being in the northern hemisphere, having a massive Asian population, it to my mind remains the best place for the WTC final. If England ever do, if Bazball, Ben Stokes, if it ever gets this team into the WTC final, then by all means go and move it somewhere else. But as long as England is not playing, this remains the best venue. The Oval was the best venue. There was an hour of overcast skies, not a single drop of rain across 5 days. Let's face it, Maya, between the two teams, India actually had the better of the batting conditions. What did they do in 2 innings? Failed to put up what Australia did in 1. Let's accept it. We can bang on about the IPL. I'll say it again. It's something that Kushan mentioned a few shows ago. If it's 10 players who've come from the IPL, in fact, I'll say 9. I won't even count KS Bharat as part of the IPL because he didn't play a game and Umesh Yadav hardly played. What did Cheteshwar Pujara achieve? If you're slacking off the 9 guys who played the IPL, then by all means put Cheteshwar Pujara in that same pile. You were parked in county cricket for 6 weeks. You played some 7 matches. What did you do? One, you criminally left the ball. The second time you thought you were Suryakumar Yadav trying to uppercut the shot. What in the world? Please remove Cheteshwar Pujara from the test team with immediate effect. If you're going to go on and slack the IPL, I put him in the same pile. This was India had no excuse, undercooked, overdone, whatever you want to say. They did not have the hunger, the drive, the desire. And I'll say it again. I wish that Mr. Rahul Dravid and Mr. Rohit Sharma, before giving that rote ratta hua excuse line, would have paused to say, I want to say sorry to all the fans who paid £100 per ticket to come here and cheer us. I'll say it again, Indian fans, you do not this team does not deserve you. Move on, support some other players, support the junior hockey women's team. These players, the BCI, don't give a damn about you. I'm very sorry.
Okay, now Kushan Sarkar also joins us on this, and I'll just come to him. But this is what the fans are saying after this. Now, the other thing being that for the 5 days, you've got to say, you've got to understand what the fans were feeling, because I think they were still very optimistic. But you cannot explain India's performance the way it was for 5 days. And I know that when you're in control of a test match like Australia was on day one, it is difficult for a team like any team to be able to come back, but they did have chances and they let them go. So Kushan, I'm just going to come to you, but let's just hear from some of the fans who were at the Oval after India's debacle.
I think it's a team problem itself. I think they have too much focus on T20. I think players like Shubman Gill, for example, he did well in T20, but he's not as good as Test players. They need more. I think India's main focus for Test is to get players for stamina to build up for long-term cricket. And that's why he lost today, because under pressure you lose more wickets, and especially when your openers don't do too well.
जिस तरह से लोगों ने खेला है, काफी सारा डिसअपॉइंटमेंट हुआ है, इतना सज धज के आए, लेकिन प्लेयरों को कुछ नहीं समझता कि वो कोहली जो है, इतने बड़े बैट्समैन में उनका बहुत बड़ा फैन हूं, लेकिन वो हमेशा उनकी एक खामी रही है कि बाहर की बॉल को छेड़ते रहते हैं हमेशा, कि क्या जरूरत है. पता है कि दो बॉल पहले जो इन स्विंग आया था, तो यकीनन बॉलर ने बहुत अच्छा प्लान करके आउट स्विंग में डाला. जब मालूम है कि इतना 3 स्लिप्स है वहां पे खड़े हुए, तो जरूरत नहीं था कि उनको छेड़ने की. कोहली आउट हो गए जब भी मैच पूरा खत्म.
पिच अभी भी अच्छा है, धूप अभी भी मतलब यहाँ पर बहुत ज्यादा है, बट आप बॉल छेड़ने गए जो बहुत ज्यादा आउटसाइड द ऑफ था. 3 स्लिप लगी हुई है, आपने वहां पर बॉल छेड़ने की कोशिश करी. रविंद्र जडेजा उस वक्त लीव करना चाहिए था, आपका सेकंड बॉल था, उसमें आपने छेड़ दिया वो सेम बॉल. अजिंक्य रहाणे फ्रॉम 46, वैसा शॉट इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल. इवन कल जैसे कि रोहित शर्मा और चेतेश्वर पुजारा सेट होने के बाद जैसे आउट हुए, these kinds of decision making is actually not acceptable.
ये ऑस्ट्रेलियन टीम है जिसने अभी हमें हमारे घर पे हराई है वनडे सीरीज. तो यही अगर माइंडसेट रहा तो 2023 में ज्यादा उम्मीदें ना लेके चले, एंड सेमीफाइनल्स वुड बी अ मिरेकल फॉर इंडिया.
ऐसी फीलिंग आती है कि फ्रेंचाइज क्रिकेट और T20 की ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस है, ओडीआई और टेस्ट को भूलते जा रहे हैं. आप ऐसा नहीं कर सकते बस फ्रेंचाइज क्रिकेट के बाद आए और अगले दिन आप कहें कि मैं टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप का मैच खेलने आ रहा हूँ.
इंडिया वाज प्लेइंग बट आफ्टर कोहली and Rahane got out, everybody got out after one.
It was quite disappointed, yeah. They couldn't even survive the first session of today's game day. They should have done better, but they didn't do that. Unfortunately, the players are more into the 2020 format now. I think they're forgetting the test crickets, yeah. So it's quite a shame, yeah. I'm really feeling sorry for them and for all the spectators, who are all here gathered to see the match, enjoyed it, but didn't work very well today.
हारना बुरी बात नहीं है, पर 10 साल से सेम तरीके से हारना, नॉकआउट्स में पहुंचना, हार जाना. 2013 से लेके 2013 में जीते चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी, उसके बाद से लगातार नॉकआउट में पहुंच रहे हैं, हार रहे हैं. हर कोई कैप्टन आता है, सर जी 15 मिनट बुरी क्रिकेट खेली हमने, 20 मिनट बुरी क्रिकेट खेली. अब रोहित शर्मा आगे बोल देगा सर हमने पिच नहीं रीड कर पाए, शायद अश्विन खेल लेता या पिच में हम कुछ और कर देते. सिर्फ यही 2-4 बातें बचती हैं आखिरी में इनके पास. सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं सर, 2010 से जब से क्रिकेट देखना शुरू किया तब से सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, पर इसका मतलब ये नहीं है ना कि ब्लाइंडली सपोर्ट करें. अपना पैसा, टाइम, हर चीज लगा रहे हैं ना इनके ऊपर.
Okay, those are understandable emotions by Indian fans, and they came from long way away. We had some fans here on our show who'd come from the US to support this Indian team, and you see that anywhere the Indian team travels, they feel at home because these fans are supporting them. But are these fans, should India really be repaying their faith in the way they play, especially ICC tournaments, and what is it that seems to go wrong? Kushan, one big problem is not accepting the problem, that you have a problem with your batting, which seems to be the storyline every time India loses in an ICC tournament. The other being, why does this keep happening? this is the second W Test Championship final that they've lost consecutive. 2013 there was a fan who rightly said कि 2013 से हम इनको support कर रहे हैं पर हर knockout match में ऐसे ही हो जाता है और फिर कुछ ना कुछ वो ढूंढ लेते हैं बहाना कि 15 minute we played badly or you know we didn't read the pitch. Someone who's covered the World Cups, many World Cups, how do you react to this phase this Indian team is going through? 10 years of, you know, going through the same rigmarole.
Well, Neha, I was listening to Jamie before I came on air, and I completely agree. I understand his anger as a cricket fan, and as I always term Jamie Alter as a proper true blue cricket tragic. He is angry, and he has reasons to be angry. Apart from being an analyst, he is a fan first, and then we are all fans first. So obviously, we don't like how they have played. But this is going to continue, Meha, because you are not going to put a system in place. Since you are not going to put a system in place, this is going to happen. You don't have a plan B. Yeah, and if you are thinking that there will be a knee-jerk reaction and then you will see a sea change in the Indian team's lineup, that's not going to happen because you have also postponed your A-tour program for the time being. You don't have an A-tour program. If you remember, Mayank Agarwal, Rishabh Pant, Hanuma Vihari, Navdeep Saini, Mohammad Siraj, they all came from the A-tour program. And when during that golden phase between 2018 to 2021, 22, that phase, it was Mohammad Siraj played 15 India A matches, got 65 to 70 wickets. That's how Bharat Arun and Rahul Dravid, then the NCA director, prepared them. So do we have, like, if we want to drop Umesh Yadav, Mukesh Kumar is your best choice in terms of his 18 performances and performance. But then Mukesh Kumar is at least 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers slower than Umesh Yadav. He's specific conditions bowler, maybe England, maybe New Zealand, as your third seamer or maybe as a new ball bowler. So are you looking at Mukesh Kumar? That is number one. That's point number one. Point number two, Rohit Sharma has had an average of 52. Can you drop him? You can't drop him. Come to Cheteshwar Pujara. I think, Neha, on your show only, I had mentioned that Cheteshwar Pujara runs in Division 2. I won't take that seriously. The kind of bowling attacks that are there, I think the only good bowler that Cheteshwar Pujara faced in county cricket was the last season when Shaheen Shah Afridi played one match.
Yeah.
That was the only world-class bowler he faced. World-class. And when I'm talking about world-class, it means really world-class. County cricket Division 2, it's no different from Ranji Trophy's Group C or Group D with not so great teams. Not Group A or Group B. It's not great. Just because of the conditions and those military medium trundlers will just swing the ball here and there. Just go back and watch some of Cheteshwar Pujara's innings on YouTube. County cricket has a contract with the YouTube. All county matches are shown live on YouTube.
Yes.
If you get Cheteshwar, you'll get Cheteshwar Pujara's centuries on YouTube. Just go and look at the bowlers, man. You have covered cricket for such a long time. You will know that this is not the kind of attack, and the century that you score over there is not something which is an indicator of how you are going to shape up during test matches. I would say Ajinkya Rahane did harder grinds in Ranji Trophy and in IPL before he made a comeback to the Indian team. Now, what are we looking at? There are two test matches in West Indies, I believe. One is at Dominica and the other, I'm just forgetting it. 12th July is the first test match, and I think the second test match is in the third week of July. 3rd or 4th of July, the team will be traveling, and before that these players will now get a much needed rest, because after IPL they straight went to England, so they also need that rest, and test matches are happening first, so you'll not have a knee-jerk reaction. But there is also a problem over there, and the problem is a twofold problem here. You have 10 test matches against Australia and England in the next cycle also. England, you play 5 at home, and you play 5 against Australia in 2024 December, January, the time when during the Australian summer. And again, you play a 5 test matches against England 2025, but that will be, I think, in the 2025 to 27 cycle, if my knowledge doesn't go wrong. So next 2 years, Mia, If you even don't consider the WTC cycle, we're playing 15 test matches against Australia and England, 10 against England, home and away, 5 against Australia.
Okay, I'm trying to connect with Kushan, but Jamie, just carrying on from that, and I think those are that's a very valid thing that Kushan was trying to say, that at the end of the day, there is going to be no knee-jerk reaction, as fans would be expecting. In a way, it's right, because you also have to look at that transition, and that transition, trying to infuse young blood has to be done, in the right manner. You cannot be very aggressive with it, because you also have to realize who are the young players who can replace some of these players, right? Because it's easier said than done ki chalo inko nikalo. But who comes and plays in place of Cheteshwar Pujara? Who comes and plays? Are you going to drop Rohit Sharma just yet? Are you going to drop Virat Kohli? Ajinkya Rahane has done nothing wrong. He's actually gone back to the grind, played domestic cricket, and has come back and actually scored runs. So out of all of them, if there's one person who's got more points, it's Ajinkya Rahane. So how do you see that transition happening?
Look, the transition has to happen because transitions have been happening for countless years, right? But the main issue is not who needs to go or how they'll go, is who is going to get these players out, right? There is no discernible selection committee in place that you and me and Kushan can claim to know of, right? Who is picking the squads? We're coming up to 5.5, 6 months. No one knows what's happening, right? And again, I'll sound like a stuck record, and let's hope that we can get Kushan back, because he'll have a ringside view of what I'm about to say. Is that you need chief selectors of a certain stature, and by stature I mean they have to have played for India for a significant amount of time, like Dilip Vengsarkar did some years ago, like Sandeep Patil did, like Kiran More did, like Krish Shrikant did, because it is from these players, and I'm not talking about how they are as administrators, it's about the status they command and the spine they have in sitting down a Tendulkar or a Gambhir or a Dravid or Dhoni or whoever it is. In this case, to my mind, India's top four of Rohit Sharma, Ajinkya Rahane, Cheteshwar Pujara, and Virat Kohli, and saying, look, guys, we're not going to drop you tomorrow. This is not going to be a knee-jerk reaction, but we need to chart out some sort of roadmap, because let's face it, of India's top five, Meha, four are at the final stage of their respective careers, right? Now, should Rohit Sharma be removed from the Test captaincy? I believe so. Is he going to do it himself? Absolutely not. Is there anyone who's going to ask him to do it or even have that discussion? Absolutely not. But that said, somehow the Indian cricket system, with everyone on board, every major stakeholder on board, the secretary, whoever is doing the selecting, the Rahul Dravid, Rohit Sharma vice captain, they need to have this talk, because this talk is inevitable, right?
Yeah.
John Wright and Kiran More took the decision, the very tough decision, of dropping Saurav Ganguly in 2005 when he was very much India's Test captain, but for 18, 19 months, he was averaging 33 in Test cricket. May I digest that stat, all our viewers watching? 33. Virat Kohli, for the last 4 seasons, is averaging under 29. When you remove the 185 he got in that final Border Gavaskar trophy a couple months ago, that average falls to 25. He's gone some 32 overseas tests without 100. Why is he not droppable? He's not droppable because there is no one to drop him, right? And look, Meha, the replacements are there, but unfortunately, you, me, everyone talking here, we perhaps look at these replacements through the lens of the names you just mentioned. Is whoever comes in at number 3 going to be the next Pujara? Absolutely not. And yes, Kushan is right that India A Tour has somehow faded away. It helped in that golden period, if I can use Kushan's words. But the fact is, the India A system is still around, right? Just pick up. It takes 10 seconds to pick up the previous India A Tour in the month of December to Bangladesh. Let's not even go, oh, Bangladesh tha, wo sab tha. Pick up the top run scorers. Abhimanyu Ishwaran scores 200s in the same match. Yashasvi Jaiswal has got runs. Go back to before India A, to my mind, the biggest match is rest of India. Abhimanyu Ishwaran got runs there. He's been part of it. What is Abhimanyu Ishwaran going to do? Score less than what Rohit Sharma is doing? I don't think so. Change has to come. Stop viewing them through the lens of what these 4 have done, right? Yashasvi Jaiswal's got some first-class batting average of 65. The boy's 22. Try to kar lo. मैं कह रहा हूँ for those two West Indies tests that Kushan mentioned, bring these guys in. What are they going to do? They're going to lose. Is this team winning? We know that West Indies tours are diluted. 20 तो लोग होते हैं वहां पे ground देखने में. This is the perfect example to try these guys. You don't feel that Mayank Agarwal's 990 runs in the Ranji Trophy count? Okay, don't take him. Pick Gaikwad, pick Tilak Verma, pick players who are at least doing well in white ball cricket. Try something out. Who's number 3? Shubman Gill can bat at number 3. Send Jaiswal opening. Send Abhimanyu Ishwaran opening. Shubman Gill's future, to my mind, is at number 4 whenever Virat Kohli retires. Shreyas Iyer, compared to Pant, KL Rahul and Jasprit Bumrah, Shreyas Iyer's injury happened the earliest, so he's logically on track to come back first. He's going to bat at number 3 for years to come. आपके पास players हैं, but they're not the next Virat Kohli. They're not the next Rohit Sharma. किसी ना किसी को तो डालना पड़ेगा, right? Yeah. What are we waiting for?
Yeah, but Jimmy, I don't. No, I get it. I get it. I get your emotion. I also get the logic behind it, but I don't see.
It's basic logic.
I'm saying I get the logic behind it, but I don't see this happening. Kushan is going to tell us why, because he's been seeing this for far too long. So Kushan, do come in and continue, carry on, where you're saying that you don't see a knee-jerk reaction happening. You think that the same team will go to the West Indies, and you don't think that the changes that Jamie was suggesting, like get someone like a Yashasvi Jaiswal, Abhimanyu Ishwaran to join, to be sent to West Indies, let them go and play. It's West Indies, it's not a big tour, just try them out. Is that something that'll happen?
Well, Yashasvi, I think, will be there. I do not know whether he's going to replace Cheteshwar Pujara at number 3, but that should be the way. If you are going to phase out players, then Cheteshwar Pujara, you have to do it gradually. You cannot phase out all players at one go, because after these 2 test matches, you don't play any test match till December, January against South Africa, and then against England. Then you play 8 test matches in a period of, I believe, 2.5 months. So at this point in time, you cannot have everyone out. Cheteshwar Pujara, you definitely need to phase him out. You need to tell him that thank you, 100 test matches, 7,000 runs, yeoman service, 2 Australia tours, those body blows. Indian cricket will forever be indebted to Cheteshwar Pujara, but probably now is the time that you have to phase him out and probably try Yashasvi Jaiswal over there. Here I would tell you a story about Balwinder Singh Sandhu, the man famous for that Gordon Bridge dismissal, a very acclaimed Bombay coach, Bombay cricket. He once told me, he was with the Indian Cricket League, defunct. I was having a chat with him long back, some 18 years back, and we were talking about a specific Mumbai player who was a Mumbai legend and was not getting a call up into the Indian team. And he told me one thing. देखिए भाई साहब, he told me in Hindi, अगर आप 300 बॉल में 100 मारोगे या 280 बॉल में 100 मारोगे रणजी ट्रॉफी में, तो टेस्ट क्रिकेट में आपका कोई चांस है नहीं. अगर आप रणजी ट्रॉफी में 125, 140 से 30 बॉल में 100 मारोगे, तब जाके टेस्ट क्रिकेट में.
Okay, I think you've muted your.
Abhimanyu Ishwaran, I would beg to differ with JP. Abhimanyu Ishwaran, they can play him because of his phenomenal record, but Abhimanyu Ishwaran, will he do well against better teams? I doubt. Yashasvi Jaiswal will do well. Rutu probably can do well, and I'm purely talking about red ball. Main problem will be pacers. I don't see Jasprit Bumrah playing a lot of test cricket. If Indian cricket wants Jasprit Bumrah for another 5 years with so many white ball ICC tournaments. So, and Mohammad Shami is in his mid-30s.
Sure.
So, what's the next line? Only Mohammad Siraj is there among the bowlers. Shardul, you will use him in specific conditions. Umesh Yadav, probably also another bowler who you might need to say thank you sooner than later. And the other part is that...
So who are the players? I mean, who are the players if Umesh Yadav needs to go out?
I think Umesh Yadav and Cheteshwar Pujara are 2 players, Neha, who could be phased out for the West Indies too. You cannot phase out until and unless Rohit Sharma himself says that I don't want to play test cricket anymore. then it's a different issue. But Rohit Sharma is not playing T20 cricket anymore for India. And
Yeah.
ODI cricket is no longer a format where you will have a lot of bilateral series and all until and unless it's a World Cup year. So what has
Absolutely.
Rohit Sharma left? So why would Rohit Sharma want to just discontinue Test captaincy? If he discontinues Test captaincy, will he be there in the team? Yes, he has an average of 52. But again, like there is a kind of a misnomer when you are talking about Ravichandran Ashwin at 61 wickets in 13 Test matches during this phase. But 55 of those wickets came in Indian conditions, 50 plus wickets came in Indian conditions. So if Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma went back and saw that Ravichandran Ashwin in the last 5 Test matches in England, he was not played, they followed the same logic. Whether that logic is flawed or not, we are not going there. Obviously, that logic is flawed, but then hindsight is a great feature.
No, I get that. But you know that
we can always say.
No, I get that, and I also understand that you need to face some of the senior players out gradually, and that is the right way. And I know that this is
also. Add one point?
Yes, quickly, Kushan. Yes.
I'll just add one more point that I believe it will start with having a good vice captain, because I don't see Rohit Sharma continuing Test cricket till 25. If he continues well and good, he's a great player, but I don't see that happening.
India's vice captain.
Yeah, and that choice, there are two choices for me. One is Shubman Gill, 23, and you groom him for a bigger role, because Hardik Pandya will be your natural white ball captain, elevated. So you groom Shubman Gill, or you have Ravi Jadeja, who is a sure shot, all format pick, all conditions, who is now becoming more of a Ravi Shastri, a batting all-rounder in Test matches overseas.
Good choices.
His position is not in doubt.
Good choices.
Ravi Jadeja, his CSK captaincy, I do not know. So focus would be on who would be the vice captain in Test cricket. That will indicate how the team is.
I mean, I think everybody thinks that Shubman Gill, Jamie and I have been having these conversations, and we think Shubman Gill should be groomed for captaincy. Ravindra Jadeja, after what happened with Chennai Super Kings, I'm not sure whether he'll be able to handle the pressure of captaincy. But I've got to ask you both this. Now, when Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli, as coach and captain, were leading the side, or were making the decisions, a lot of people said they weren't good enough. How do you look at this duo of Rohit Sharma and Rahul Dravid? Are they better? Are they worse? Who's a better coach between Ravi Shastri and Rahul Dravid? Let me put this question to both of you. I'll start with Jamie.
I think it's been said before also. Ravi Shastri was not a coach. He was just there. He was a man manager, and a damn fine one at that. Two very different characters, two very different pedigrees, two very different outlooks on life. What is Rahul? You said it yourself, Mia. What is Rahul Dravid supposed to do? Teach these guys how to bat? No, he's there to give throwdowns. He's there to have some talks about mental skill, about patience. A coach, I mean, that John Buchanan and Shane Warne spat when Shane Warne said a coach is what gets you from the hotel to the ground and back. I mean, that line has been ringing in my ears louder than it ever has since Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma teamed up, right? I think it's a bit of an unfair comparison because, yes, Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri made some strange calls. They appointed Rahane vice captain and then made the strange decision to drop him in a tour of South Africa, which crushed his confidence. The decision was taken because Rohit Sharma was scoring double hundreds on flat tracks against Sri Lanka. That was strange. The 2018 Tour of England, the first and second Test matches, especially the second Test match, when they were hoodwinked into playing a spinner because of some very sharp decision by England to announce Adil Rashid in their 11 and then not get him to bowl at all. And then, of course, the 2021 final, where I'll say it again, they were parked in Southampton for a couple soggy days. They saw the rain, they saw the condition, and then Kohli and Shastri made the shocking decision to play two spinners where New Zealand dropped theirs and played all five seamers. That said and done, their track record, of course, the sample size is much larger. Theirs is much better than what Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma can claim to have done. You fail to reach the final of the Asia Cup. That means you're not even the best Asian side in T20s. Somehow you haul yourselves into the semifinals of the T20 World Cup, and then you got smashed, and your outdated brand of T20 cricket. I know this show is talking about Test cricket, but India's T20 format is actually the format which needs the most, because it's gone through cardiac arrest. Right now, Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma need to figure out what is their path. I'm on the same page. You want to phase, you cannot drop certain players. You need to groom. I think Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli, one of their failures was the inability to groom a vice captain. I think had Shreyas Iyer been right now in the squad, he was someone who I think can lead until that time comes when Shubman Gill is ready. I have no doubt that Rohit Sharma is not the man to do this right now. Ajinkya Rahane, I said it on this show, I was very surprised that he was recalled. But now the fact that he's got 89 runs, we've talked about it on this show, how he did more than what was expected. I think don't look at Ajinkya Rahane as more than a test player for 12 months, but maybe he's actually the best person to lead this transition period, right? His test record as a captain is impeccable. He's not lost a match. Don't have a dialogue. Don't make him captain for more than 12 months, but have him lead that transition, be it Iyer, be it Gill. He seems to be the man. I think Rohit Sharma has to go. I think Pujara has to go. Virat Kohli probably will go. And it's really surprising. Over the last couple of days, I've been thinking, can you imagine, Mehan Kushan, that Virat Kohli might end his career without 10,000 test runs, which 3 years ago would have been unthinkable. The man was on track to get 13,000 test runs. He doesn't even have 8,500 runs. The way it's going, maybe Virat Kohli won't even get to 10,000. So yes, there'll be a transition, but I think you have the ability, you have the players to lead that transition. But where's it going to come from? Rohit? No. Rahul Dravid? Highly unlikely selection. Who's there? Who are the selectors?
Yeah, that's one big question, Kushan, to think that he might not get to 10,000 runs. We've been having this conversation, Jamie and I, and what has happened? And it is shocking. At this point, do you see him getting to 10,000 runs? I feel like he won't go. I feel like he's going to be the one player knowing what he can do and how strong he is, the kind of resilience that Virat Kohli has. I see him being the player who'd be playing the WTC Championship cycle next year as well.
Well, I think if Virat Kohli survives in any format, it will be Test cricket.
Yeah.
Because he loves that format. He still trains very hard. He's a very fit, athletic man. So you'll see him continuing. Test cricket and Virat Kohli, they complement each other. They will continue. But there's one point I would like to make, that to be fair to Dravid Rohit combination, they didn't have Rishabh Pant and they didn't have Jasprit Bumrah. So that part, and Virat Kohli had Jasprit Bumrah for the better part of his captaincy, and he had Ishant Sharma's best years. MS Dhoni had an Ishant Sharma who was profligate and was immature. The matured Ishant Sharma, who made the difference at that third seamer in that lineup of Shami, Bumrah and Ishant, Virat Kohli got him. And by the time Rohit Sharma came, Ishant was gone. So there are certain things, these are certain conditions, certain situations, which also define how your tenure goes. So I would be a bit more sympathetic toward them. But yes, if you're talking about Rahul Dravid, I think there are two types of coaches in football, and academy coaches, and then the main team has managers. They never call them coaches. Whether Arsenal has a manager, Man U has a manager, Real Madrid or Barcelona or Man City, they have managers, and they have their academy from where they produce players. Academy coaches are different. Rahul Dravid is a teacher coach. Teacher coach is an academy coach. Carlos Queiroz was at the Sporting Lisbon Academy, where a certain Cristiano Ronaldo honed his skills. So, Rahul Dravid in NCA, creating a pathway system and a policy for promotion to the senior cricket system, creating the feeder line, is your guy. Rahul Dravid, the man in that dressing room, not able to address the elephants in the room or not being able to bell the cat, is not your manager. Ravi Shastri was that manager. Ajit Wadekar was that manager. There is a saying, there was one very famous cricketer, legend, when Ajit Wadekar just became the manager, he was a superstar then. And during an Indian practice session at the Firozshah Kotla, he was doing an ad for a famous shoe company. I will not name the cricket, legend. And Ajit Wadekar by that time had at least was 15 years away from Indian cricket, and he had just come back. He didn't know what to do because within the training period he was shooting. He called, apparently the legend goes, he called that man, the said cricketer, and said that I had once as a captain had Sunil Gavaskar open the bowling in test matches. I hope you don't want that Sachin Tendulkar opens the bowling for India in a test match. So
Yeah.
those are the questions we need.
Yeah.
This is an urban myth where we as journalists, when we come, we hear it from our seniors. So I take no responsibility whether like what's truth got to do with a good story.
Yeah.
But that shoot happened in between, and there was a big controversy that how can a player shoot when the training is on. But the second part of it is what gives the story that condiments and that masala that you need.
Yeah, the thing is that, what I can't seem to understand is that this has been happening all too often. We saw this in 2021 T20 World Cup. There were decisions that we were wondering here, why are those decisions being made? And yet, you almost felt like this team collectively was walking into a glass door. You could see it, everybody else could see it, but somehow they weren't able to see it. And this is a similar situation that this team was in this World Test Championship final, in the last World Test Championship final, in the 2022 T20 World Cup, Jamie, in the way that, for the longest time, they tried Suryakumar Yadav right at the top to open with Rohit Sharma. They tried Rishabh Pant. They dropped Rishabh Pant for the first half of the tournament because Dinesh Karthik was your finisher. Then all of a sudden, just before the semi-final, I remember, I think one match before the semi-final, they brought Rishabh Pant back. By then, they'd killed his confidence. There were so many things that sitting here we could see, but I know that, people always say, we know that hindsight is 20/20. But having said that, there were some really bad decisions there. There were some big mistakes, and what India have had to pay for that is with a World Test Championship final miss. Once again, India losing that. I don't know whether things are going to change. I hope tough calls will be made. Jamie Alter, Kushan Sarkar, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. So that is the big point. The big point here is, will those tough calls be taken? Will there be a transition phase, a quick transition phase where some of the big names will be dropped? Will Indian cricket look beyond them? Will they be able to do that? Hopefully that happens, because you don't want another cycle of the same thing. It's been 10 years since India won the last ICC tournament in 2013, the Champions Trophy. It's been a while. India is a superpower. It's the biggest when it comes to cricket. 1.4 billion people. They love this game. There are fans who went from all over the world to watch the World Test Championship final. What they deserve is another ICC trophy, and hopefully the ODI World Cup this year, that could be India's. With that, we'll end this. Thank you so much for watching us. Do subscribe to News 9 Live for all the latest from the world of sports. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.